welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we will keep working with the NIST Cybersecurity Framework. And specifically now we are going to focus on the detect function. In the prior session, we looked at the govern, identified, and protect. Now we looked at the detect. Real briefly, what is the NIST Cybersecurity Framework? It's a voluntary set of guidelines that helps company manage and reduce cybersecurity risk. The framework is designed to be flexible and adaptable, and we talked about all of these in the prior session, to tailor any company in any industry of any size. The framework consists of 6 core functions, and now we are working on the 4th core function, the profile and 4 tiers, which we will talk about later. Once again, this session will focus on the detect function. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com.
Hello everyone, my name is Farhat. If you are watching this, you are probably studying for the Information Systems and Controls CPA exam disciplines. That means you are already serious about your future. And I want to help you go even further. At Farhat Lectures, you will get in-depth video explanation for all topics, clear and organized notes accompanying the lectures, thousands of MCQs with AI-powered explanation and assistant, all previously released AI CPA, MCQs, and simulation in a video format explanation, and last but not least, our personal guidance and support. My guidance and support, as well as the support of the Farhat team. Go ahead, visit Farhat Lectures and start your free trial. You have 2 days. Take your preparation to the next level, so you are not just studying alone. We are here to assist you. If you are ready to pass, visit the website, and I hope to see you on the website.
Going back to the big picture, under the detect function, we are going to have 2 categories. So we're at the 4th function here. And from the core function, we can build the profile, then we can determine what is our tiers. So what is the detect function? From the word detect, it's basically an early warning system. Something's happening and you detected what's going on. It's a core component emphasizing timely identification and understanding of a cybersecurity event or incident through comprehensive observation, detection, and analysis practices. Simply put, in a nutshell, you find out something is going on and an incident taking place by observation or detection or analysis. And now you have those tools that you have. Now you are ready to do something. So the primary objective is early detection system. Think of it as a radar of a potential cybersecurity incidents. Why? Because you want, as an organization, to respond as quickly as possible and as swiftly as possible to mitigate, to reduce, or prevent any damage or further damage. So the early detection reduces the risk on the company end, minimize financial and harmful reputation. That's what you want to minimize. And you want to make sure after the event, you are still operating as a company. So even if the event happened, you are monitoring, you are mitigating, you are controlling, you are reducing its effect. So that's the detection risk. Now the detection risk will have 2 categories: continuous monitoring and adverse event analysis. What is continuous monitoring? Here we're talking about the systematic tracking and logging of cybersecurity activities and events using automated tools and processes. What you want to do is continuously monitor what's going on, log in what's going on in real time. This real-time monitoring ensure timely detection. Why in real time? Because 24/7 a cyber attack could take place. Therefore, your continuous monitoring should be 24/7 of any anomalies or unusual behavior. What do we mean by anomalies or unusual behavior? Let's assume you have a website and your daily traffic is 10,000 visits. So that's 10K. Suddenly you saw a sudden decrease to 2,000. Well, this is an anomaly. You want to know why. Or let's assume your customers on your website are mostly active from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. New York time, Eastern Standard Time or New York time. Suddenly you saw a spike in activities from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. That's an anomaly, unusual behavior. Who's on my website? Who's transacting with my business unusually 2 to 5 a.m. Now, if you're an online business, it could happen, but you would know what your traffic is. So you're looking for unusual behavior. Why? To detect any unusual activities. So how can you continuously monitor? Well, we could look at network traffic analysis, and we'll talk about those. Every time I say this, we're going to talk about those way in depth later on. We could use tools such as intrusion detection system, IDS, or intrusion prevention system, IPS, to continually monitor network traffic for malicious or abnormal activities such as unauthorized access, data exfiltration attempt. So we have these tools that will continuously monitor what? Our network, and telling us what is happening. We could have an endpoint detection and response, EDR. Those are real-time monitoring of endpoint. Now you are monitoring the endpoint, which are computers, servers, and mobile devices. Those are the endpoint to identify suspicious behavior, any malware, or if the system is compromised. So you're monitoring the network, trying to make sure no one's coming in. You're also monitoring the endpoint. Endpoint are inside your network. And you could also you look at user behavior analytics, or UBI, to analyze pattern of user activities to detect deviation from established norms such as unusual login times or data access attempt. And I gave you an example earlier about, for example, odd time people are transacting business. Why? Unusual login times. And it's a large volume and it's very unusual. So that's called the user behavior analytics. And all these will be covered later on. We have a whole session about network. Another category of the detect function is adverse event analysis, or AE. This is involving the examination of cybersecurity event to identify the root cause, why this is happening, assess their significance. What is their significance to us, and understand their implication. If they materialize, what could happen? So this analysis provides insight into potential compromises or malicious activity within an organization network. An example of adverse event analysis is performing an in-depth examination of detected malware. So you detected the malware, now you want to study it a little bit further to determine its origin, intent, and capabilities. To do what? To enable you to have an appropriate defense. And what's basically a malware? It's an intrusive software, and the purpose of it is to harm or exploit your computer system. You could also do what's called forensic investigation. You want to conduct a digital forensics to analyze the timeline, when it's happening, what method are the attackers conducting, or the potential attacker, and the impact of an incident, to get a clear understanding for future prevention and remediation. This could be if you are having somebody logging in and they're having several attempts, or they're inputting credit card information and nothing is working properly and they keep on doing it again and again. So you want to analyze who's doing it, for what purpose, the method, the impact, the timeline, to see if you can prevent this from happening again. For example, once they log in 3 times and it doesn't work, you cut them out. It's as simple as that. And how do you know that? You conduct those forensic investigation to determine what's happening and what can you do to mitigate this issue. You could also do what's called an incident correlation, which is combining different points and logs to do what? To correlate seemingly isolated event and uncover a coordinated cyber event. For example, don't look at your firewall logs only. Look at those. Look at antivirus software, what's telling you. Look at authentication logs and look at them all at the same time. Have a big picture to see if they're all correlated, although they could be isolated incident for each one, but together they can tell you a bigger picture. What is the importance of the detection function? Well, for one thing, it's not a reactive, it's a proactive security. It allows the business to identify and neutralize threat before any damage happens, which is good. 2, it helps with compliance. You are protecting your data, and that's required. You have an audit trail. everything is being documented. So in case of investigation, lawsuit, anything like that, you have everything is documented. Improved response, early detection, translate to quicker and more efficient incident response. Now you want to protect, you don't want anything to be happening, but if it happens, if something is starting, you want to detect this as early as possible. This way you can recover as early as possible. And obviously it's an informed decision making. It provides valuable insight through continuous analysis of security data. This way you can improving future cybersecurity strategy. So in this session we looked at which function? The detect function. And under the detect function, we had two categories: continuous improvement and adverse event analysis. Now let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. An online retail company observes a repeated transaction being declined due to incorrect CVV codes across numerous customer accounts simultaneously. So somebody trying to input their credit card information, and what's happening is from various accounts we are getting this error with the card verification value, CVV code. This is the CVV code. If you look at your credit card, there's 3-digit CVV code. It's basically like it's usually 3-digit. And why? Because if you have the credit card in your hand, then you can see the numbers, the date, the expiration date, and you still need that third piece CVV. Now what's happening, transactions are being declined because of this CVV across numerous accounts simultaneously. So we suspect fraudulent activities. What action best represent adverse event analysis procedure to perform initially? So what do you do initially? Do you notify your local law enforcement cybersecurity body? I hope you don't do that. Okay, so that's out. Conduct forensic analysis to identify patterns and correlation in transaction attempt. Do you want to do that at this point? Absolutely. You want to learn what is happening and why. So this is what we call forensic analysis. Look at the pattern. Look at the correlation. Why? Because you want to learn as much as possible about this event. You want to determine how and why this event is occurring. Why? Because once you understand why and how, you can facilitate a target response. And this is what you want to do. So between A and B, I'm going to keep B. Let's look at C. Immediately suspend all online transaction indefinitely. You don't want to do that immediately. Yes, it seems there is an attack, but first you want to know what's happening before you suspend all online transaction indefinitely. You might have to do that at some point. We don't know, but that's not what you should do immediately. Reset customer password and inform them to update their payment method. You might have to do that after you investigate. Maybe their some credit card information, passwords is compromised, so you want to let them know about this. But that's not the initial thing. The initial thing, you suspected something. Based on this adverse event analysis, you will conduct a forensic analysis to identify pattern and correlation in the transaction attempts. What should you do now? If you are a CPA exam candidate or studying for a professional certification, go to farhatlectures.com, where you can find additional resources, lectures, AI CPA questions, video questions. The best investment you can make is investing in yourself. Good luck, study hard, and of course, stay safe.